Hello, class, the receiving students and teachers. You may be seated. This is the second lesson with a new strand and substrand, at and beyond our earth and its origin. Outcome 8.4.1. Now I'd like us to have a look at the lesson that we looked at yesterday. It was on the layers of the earth, or the structure of the earth. Now, I want the class, someone to tell me how the structure of the mantle is formed within the earth. I'd like someone to tell me the formation of the mantle in the structure of the earth. Our receiving students, you can tell your teacher. I'm repeating the question again. The formation of one of the layers in the structure of the earth, mantle. Thank you. Let's have Messi.
Mantle is below the crust. It is made up of rocks which is particularly molten. The rocks flows like a thick past and is said to be plastic-like.
Good, thank you. Now we have two types of cores, the outer and the inner core. I want someone to tell me what is the inner core surrounded with. What is the inner core surrounded with? Let's have a boy this time. Thank you, Carol.
It is surrounded by the thick molten liquid of the outer core.
Very good, thank you. Now, class and receiving students, I'd like us to have a look at a picture I have. This is the first picture. Look at it carefully before I go to the next one. And while you're looking at this picture, I'd like you to think about what caused this disaster that you can see in the picture. What caused the disaster that you can see in the picture? We also have the next picture that is just like the first one we have seen. Receiving students, you can tell your teacher what caused the disaster that you can see in the picture, and also the class. And I would like someone to tell me what you think caused the disaster that you can see. Anyone? Trisha?
Volcano.
Volcano, thank you. Now, what do the two pictures that you have just seen tell you about volcanoes? What do the two pictures that you have just seen tell you about volcanoes? Tulanga?
It destroys nature.
It destroys nature. Can I have another? Daira?
It causes distraction around the surrounding areas.
Good, thank you. Class and receiving students, we are going to be viewing a short video. While you are viewing the video, I'd like you to take note, listen carefully to what is going to be said on the video.
All rocks are made of minerals. Why are these mineral crystals so large? Most crystals are tiny, but these grew unobstructed in a cavity filled with liquid. They are massive and have regular geometric shapes. What processes control the growth of crystal and formations of rocks in the Earth's crust? Soaring over a newborn landscape, we see the raw materials of the crust and discover rock being formed. Hot molten lava from deep in the earth cools and hardens to create igneous rock. Many kinds of igneous rock are formed in and on the crust when the molten material cools. But why does this process occur in some locations and not in others? Most of the Earth's crust is blanketed by vast layers of sedimentary rock, exposed here in a river channel. Sedimentary rock consists of layers of sediment deposited by wind and water. Metamorphic rock is rock that has been changed. It was once igneous or sedimentary rock, but its structure and mineral composition has been altered by great heat and pressure. These conditions do not occur on the Earth's surface. Where does the formation of metamorphic rocks take place? More questions arise as we explore rugged landscapes to find out how the Earth's rocks are being sculpted and shaped.
Now, class and receiving students, you've just viewed a short video on how rocks are formed. In the video, you looked or you saw 3 different types of rocks. Now, I'd like someone from the class to tell us what those 3 rocks are. Receiving students, tell your teacher too. And, Hayano?
Igneous rocks, sedimentary rocks, and metamorphic rocks.
Very good. Igneous rocks, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks. Now, those are 3 major groups of rocks. The others 2, the last 2 we will be looking at in other lessons that are yet to come. Now, for this lesson, we will be looking at igneous rocks. I hope you also observed and heard of how igneous rocks are formed. Now, I'd like us to have a look at that diagram. And I'd like you to listen carefully, the class and receiving students. We've just seen in the video of how igneous rocks are formed, and we've seen that igneous rocks are formed from volcanoes. Now, here we have a diagram of a volcano. Now, if we look closely, we see at the bottom, this is deep within the earth. We have this red color shows you what is known as magma. Magma is molten rock, that is not solid, not hard, but like paste or glue. Now, when magma, when it becomes so hot, it looks for weak spots in the earth crust, and when it finds its way out of the crust, it flows out, and once it comes out, that liquid is known as lava. When it's in the earth, it is magma. Now, once it comes out of the earth in a form of volcano, then that liquid on the surface is known as lava. Now, when the lava flows, it cools quickly and forms one of the igneous rocks that we will be looking at soon. Now, the other rocks, when volcano erupts, it throws out some rocks, ash, dust, steam, and gas. And among these, some rocks are thrown out, or the gas or the liquid lava, when it's thrown out, it cools down very quickly to form some other igneous rocks too. Now, there are some that remain and cool very slowly, and they also form other igneous rocks. As we go through, you will know what all those different types of igneous rocks are. Now, igneous rocks are formed when hot liquid rocks or molten rocks called magma cool and harden. We have seen in the diagram earlier that some rocks are formed above the surface, and one of them is basalt rocks, and that is how it looks. Basalt rocks are formed when hot liquid lava cools quickly and hardens, and this happens above the surface. Now we have another diagram again of volcano. This time I'd like you to have a look at, if we look at this picture here, it shows the volcano throwing out lava. This is a lava, it's throwing out rocks. Okay, these rocks, before they reach or before they land on the surface of the earth, and while they are still in the air, they cool very, very quickly, quicker than the basalt rocks, and they form one of the rocks, which is called pumice rock. Pumice rocks are formed when the lava cools quickly while lava is still in the air. I hope as we are going through, you are having a good look at those different types of rocks, class and the receiving students. Now the next rock also formed while the lava is still in the air is scoria rocks, and that is how it looks. Scoria rocks are also formed when the lava cools quickly, the same way as pumice rocks. Another rock that is formed above the surface is called obsidian rock. Obsidian rocks are formed when molten rocks cool instantly. rocks that we have looked earlier, those are common rocks, igneous rocks which are formed above the surface. We also have rocks which are formed below the surface, that is in the earth. The picture that you have seen earlier, the diagram where you have seen where the magma molten rock is, that is where we have some rocks which are called granite. And we have two types. The first picture shows gray granite rock. And granite rocks are formed when molten rocks cool and harden slowly below the surface. Now that is the pink granite rock. We had the gray and also the pink. Now those are the different types of common rocks which are formed from volcanoes. Now our activity the model class, you have your worksheets. Receiving students, I believe you don't have your worksheets, but if you can if you can see the diagram that I have, the instruction, our first instruction says to study the diagram and write the volcanic activities in the correct places with the volcanic activities provided. You will be shown shortly the activities provided, and you will be using that one to put them in the correct places. Receiving students, if you don't have the worksheets, you can just have the letters written, letters A to E, and once you have the volcanic activities provided on the screen, you can just have those ones written next to the correct place that it should go to. Take note, we have A. Now this is going back to the diagram that you have looked at earlier in the lesson, that I explained how igneous rocks are formed. So I hope you had a good look at that diagram earlier in the lesson. A, it says dust, ash, rock, steam, gas, and hot lava is thrown out. Now if we look at A, and on the diagram we have A, is that a correct one? No, so you have to write it in the correct place. And so forth from B, C, D, and E. I'd like you to all work on that. You are all given 5 minutes. Where it's, do you think that's where you saw in the diagram, dust, ash, and rock are thrown out? Let's see your first one, Helen. Okay, good. first one? We can talk about it together. Instead of working individually, discuss it. Okay, very good. Looks like we are all working individually. You are in a group. Talk about your answers together and write it like your friends over there are doing. You're supposed to be talking together as a group and work on that. Where? You haven't done your first one yet. You're supposed to be working on this, Trisha. No, I want you to write it, not like that. See? So you see A, where should it go? If you're saying D, then you have to write it there. So you're actually labeling it. That's why I'm giving you 5 minutes. 5 minutes is long enough to do that. You're supposed to be talking about it together. See, Ayan already finished, and what about your friends? Did you talk about it together? You're supposed to be doing the test group. She's already finished.
Where, this one? Or this one?
Yeah, you should be talking about it together. So see, you already finished and your friends are left behind now. Mhm. You're not supposed to just write A and all that. You have to write if
The
it's
words.
yeah, in words. So you know. You should have all finished. We go to our next activity. Now this is answering questions. The model class, you have your worksheets there. So you should refer to that and do yours for the receiving students. Activity 2 is answering questions, so you can just write the answers down. You can write number 2, A, and then have your answers written, and then go to B. Which rocks are formed when A, the lava cools quickly while lava is still in the air? There are 2 types of rocks you looked at in the lesson. Write the names down. B, molten rocks cool instantly. Which rock is that? Talk about it together as a group. Helen, Regina, we are on the second activity. This one here. Talk about it together. We have gone through all those different types of rocks and how they are formed. Sorry to go to your first one. Oh, thank you. You are going. I hope you're discussing together, not one person working alone. Okay, thank you. You have your worksheet there, so you go through and answer C and D as well. Class and receiving students are still on that question. Which rocks are formed when we have seen the hot liquid lava cools quickly and hardens when it reaches the surface? And D, which rock is formed when molten rocks cool and harden slowly below the surface? Now once you finish that, you can go straight to the third activity where it says, explain how igneous rocks are formed. Explain how igneous rocks are formed. You have another 5 minutes for that. I want this putter, but we have no pins. These pins are not many. I want this putter, but those pins are not many. Because this one they will use it to label the different parts. Not many pins. It's okay here. Let's put one on here. That's the question. Which is, leave it. It's going to be enough, folks. It's going to be enough. They will just give the answers. Just close quickly. Enough pins. Yes, enough. Those are the questions. This one right up here. This one should be in. Oh yeah. Now we are going to be going through our answers to the activity that we've just done. Class and the receiving students, once again we are going to go through the answers to the work, to the activity that we've just done. Our first activity was to label the diagram with the correct volcanic activities. Now I have the flashcards with the different volcanic activities, and we have the diagram there with letters A to E. Now our teachers and the students, I will be getting your friends in the model class to come and pick one of those flashcards and put them in the correct place where it should go. Our first one is dust, ash, rock, steam, gas, and hot lava is thrown out. And I'd like Doveri to do that for us. You get it and look at the letters where it should go. Thank you. We have the next one. Let's have Angeline to do the next one for us. I'm talking to Angeline, not to everyone. You get this one here. Okay. Thank you. Let's have Owen for the next one. Tassi, the next. Move. And we have one for the last one. It's already clear, so you can come and put it there. Class, let's have a look at what we have quickly, receiving students too. Lava flows out. Fast cooling of lava forms smoke crystals. Slow cooling of magma forms large crystals. This is magma, the molten rock, and we have that. Thank you, all correct. We'll go quickly to the second activity. Our questions up there. Which rocks are formed when the lava cools quickly while it's still in the air? There are two types of rocks. I'd like Rachel to give us both of them. That saves time. What did you get as your answer, Rachel?
Scoria.
Very good. Pumice and scoria. Now the next one. Which rocks are formed when molten rocks cool instantly? Let's have Manadai.
Obsidian rock.
Very good, thank you. Hardens when it reaches the surface. Brendan? Which rock hardens when it reaches the surface?
Basalt.
Come on again.
Basalt.
Basalt, thank you. The hot liquid lava cools quickly and molten rocks cool and harden slowly below the surface. Let's have Teresa.
Gray granite.
Good, thank you. A summary. The word igneous means rock from fire. Two igneous rocks are formed from volcanic lava. Three, some igneous rocks are formed above and some below the surface. 4, igneous rocks vary in their sizes and shapes according to the types and sizes of crystals they are formed from. Our key phrase. Terence, if you can give us our key phrase for this lesson.
Igneous rock.
Igneous rocks, thank you. Let's see what I've got. Rocks from fire is our key phrase. Because all those rocks are igneous rocks, they are all from volcanic lava. Now for materials, you will need to have limestones. The students, you have to come with limestones. Teachers should try to provide vinegar or lemon and cardboard. Now this is a sample of limestone. You all to try your very best to come with one. At least you have 1 or 2 for each group. Teachers, A reminder to you is to ask the students to start collecting different types of rocks for our other lessons that we will be having after this lesson. And with that, thank you, class, the receiving students and teachers.